Time to kill is everything in Delta Force Season 2. The P90 SMG at 900 rounds per minute will not let you down. The code for this gun will be in the video description for you gamers, but I advise you stick around until the end of the video as I will go in depth on this gun's pros and cons. The name is Ace. Let's roll the stats of the build on the screen right now. The first thing you will notice that other than stability, which is not as important anymore, at least for SMGs that go down that hipfire route, like what we are doing here, all of our other stats are very close to one another. I really aimed here for a build that you can rely on in most maps and situations while still going basically all in into the hipfire accuracy stat. P90 as a gun has very forgiving recoil as it just pulls up without much horizontal recoil. On top of that, we zip around the map with very fast handling at 64 with a very low sprint to fire delay, which means you can run into a pack of players after you smoked an area, as Stinger for example, and just surprise everyone there with how fast you will send them into the Shadow Realm before they can even react to take a gunfight with you at these distances. For that reason, we are also running this amazing suppressor to keep us off the minimap and reduce some of that noise we generate shooting this 900 rounds per minute monster into people's faces. There are 3 other options in the suppressor department, but I advise you stay with the one I picked for us here, as the other 2 either kill our accuracy or handling, which is not nice now, is it? We know that SMG weapons category is very competitive, it holds some of the best guns in the game, but P90, in my opinion, stands his ground with a massive 50 round magazine that with our handling at 64, we reload very quickly. The only other weapon that stands up to P90 in that department is the Bison. And while this is another fantastic weapon, it's much slower than the P90 in the rounds per minute department, and only does 3 more damage per shot and having worse hipfire accuracy. The best part about this build that it comes online in the early level 20s of the weapon, so as soon as you unlock it, invest just a few tokens, copy in my code and you're ready to go. It's that easy. I've been opting into more hipfire builds since Season 2 dropped and basically kept our flinch resistant at only 0.8. But when you're in hipfire, in my experience, flinch doesn't really matter for you anymore as you're not actually aiming down sights while you are still flinching people who are using those still outdated, in my opinion, pure ADS builds. And when we pair that with our amazing 900 rounds per minute, it's actually very hard for people to deal with you in close combat. And because we just have so much ammo, we can take on multiple people without reload. There is a few major problems with the P90 however that I must clear up. The first major one is that the weapon only comes at Warfare level 45, which is pretty brutal if you're a new player coming into Season 2 to try the game out. If you are one of these players and seek for an alternative, check out my guide for SMG 45 weapon that comes in very early game and you can use it to grind out some of the later Warfare levels, and it just so happens to be also one of the best weapons of the game. The second problem is that our range with this build is only 15 meters. Now of course we do damage on all ranges, but our max damage potential is in that 15 meter range. So we want to be smart about how we take our fights and move around the map. We definitely do not want to shoot Luna camping 300 meters away now, do we? So map knowledge and some pair of balls is required to make this effective. So if you haven't been learning Stinger smokes and how to move around the map like a snake with him, now is a good time to start. And it's also a good time for you soldiers to like the video and subscribe if you have been enjoying it so far. It would really help me out. Thank you very much. Because we want to move into closer range, we need a ton of smoke. This is why I'm using a small ammo pack here, which will resupply me 1 smoke grenade every time I use it. You can also throw this ammo to your teammates if you see they're running around trying to scavenge ammo. And because we are medic running around the CQC, melting people, we can also heal ourselves after the gunfights so that we keep nice and healthy for the next battle. If you also really enjoy playing Toxic, you can be a real pain in the ass for the enemy team with your Swarm drones releases just before you rush people down with the P90, and buffing yourselves further with her handling buff. I really like running into enemy hotspots like what you have been seeing in this gameplay footage all video with the P90, and honestly I only feel super confident doing this with super high RPM weapons. But we don't really have that many super high RPM weapons in Delta Force, and many of them, like P90 and the Vector, are locked behind later Warfare levels. Back in Season 1 I recall when I unlocked the Vector and made my video about it, the difference between that weapon's time to kill and some other was very obvious, and it took me some time getting used to these very high RPM weapons. So I'm just letting you know that you have been chilling on some of these lower RPM weapons like SMG 45, M250 and so on all this time. There will be a little bit of a difference in gameplay for you there for sure, and it might take some time getting used to. You will notice I'm using no sight in this build. Well, it's a hipfire build, so we're not really ADSing as often, and P90's iron sights are enough for me personally. You can, if you so wish, also try out the thermal scopes on it, the holographic one, the 1x or the 2x one, just to see where the enemies are so you can plan out your engages, but honestly any sight works. I have to say the hipfire crosshair is not too shabby in Delta Force. My only wish would be if we could change the color of it. The very spammy nature of the game with how much explosives, smokes and in general chaos is happening on the field, it is sometimes very easy to lose focus of your crosshair. which is just well plain white, and I would much prefer having it green or pink for myself personally. Maybe also an option to scale it smaller or bigger would also be very appreciated. We also run a laser on our P90 because it massively boosts our hipfire accuracy and handling. And because we are a CQC rusher on this build, it's not really a huge drawback if our enemies can sometimes see the laser. In fact, for them it's hard to track the laser for the reasons I mentioned above as well. I tried experimenting with the flashlight as well, but it was kinda a keck W and I didn't feel any advantages really, so I just went with the laser only. The barrel we run is also very good for our hipfire accuracy. It's just a big shame we cannot really use the echo suppressor for a little more range without losing accuracy and handling. But if you end up messing around with the echo suppressor, let me know in the comment section how that worked out for you. Honestly guys, hipfire is in my opinion becoming more relevant with each passing day since Season 2 dropped, and I would urge you to try putting in a bit of accuracy in your favorite gun builds. I know it's a bit of a different playstyle, but not having to deal with visual recur or flinch is a big advantage. We can also collect so much information just moving around with hipfire rather than being stuck holding angles in ADS. Now, SMGs are the obvious choice for hipfire-oriented builds, and as such, I have already covered some of them on my channel. I also tried a hipfire as well, and it really worked out well for me. You can find the video on my channel. There's also something very fun about just running around and beaming people in hipfire. It's a very laid-back experience. If you end up on some of the really CQC maps, try this bad boy out, you will dominate the enemy. I also tried going with the more Season 1 classic build with a massive long barrel, more muzzle velocity, control and stability, but something just felt off about it on the P90. I was trying that out and was just thinking to myself, yeah, I don't like this, and if I didn't like it, I saw no reason to recommend it to you guys if I myself will not use my own build. With that build, I just ended up asking myself the question, wait, why don't I just use the SMG 45 rather than forcing P90 into something it's clearly not meant to thrive in? Yes, it works, but it's just not very effective. The build I brought out today just feels right for this weapon, and I'm very excited for you guys to try it out. P90 is a classic weapon that generally does well in all games it's in, and Delta Force is no exception. This classic bullpup weapon still has serious firepower behind it, so if you haven't given it a try just yet, I hope this video is enough to convince you to get off Luna and try Medic with the P90. It's some serious fun. With that being said, I will bid you farewell here, but I hope it's not the last time I saw you guys here. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking for more Battlefield and Delta Force content, I'm your guy. I would love to provide content for you beyond this video. So please consider subscribing and leaving me a like and comment on what your favorite weapon is in Delta Force as of right now. Enjoy the rest of the gameplay and have a very nice weekend. Bye bye.